Welcome everyone to not the right screen here. There we go. The Just Gaming. I almost said your podcast. What am I talking about? GameStop Live, people.
Free plugs.
Yeah. I have Mark here, of course, from the Just Gaming podcast, and Cassie Cage of the Cult Classic Cage YouTube channel.
Hey.
Really happy to have these guests on today. We're going to have a great time, guys. We're going to talk about some of these topics that have been in the news lately. Gaming news, that is, of course. You're here for gaming stuff. And we're going to talk about things like the Diablo Nerfs. And I'm sure Mark will have a lot to say about that one. And we're going to be talking about the PS5 Pro rumor. Also, the Spider-Man trailer, the new trailer. We're going to get into that. Cassie, I know that you have a lot to say about that one. And the reason why I had you on today was because of that. I saw some of your
figured.
tweets.
I'm like, let's do it.
You know what? And I agree with you in a lot of points that a lot of people are just too afraid to even talk about. And I'm glad you have that voice in the community where, you may get a lot of pushback, but you're speaking your truth. You're being honest. And I think a lot of people out there, they want to be honest. They want to speak that truth. They're just afraid to, in light of cancel culture and all this stuff. It's kind of hard to get your points across sometimes without people getting offended. These days, too many people are easily offended. I'm sorry. And yes, I may be speaking like an old man yelling at the clouds and, I am Generation X, but look, I'm from a time where we didn't pussyfoot around certain conversations. And it's not to say anybody was being like really malicious towards a certain group or anything. You have those people out there, but when it comes to just being honest and having honest conversations, I feel like this generation, a lot of younger generation, I would say,
they're scared of it.
They're scared to. Exactly. But anyways, we're going to have a great time. Really good time today. Mark, how have you been, man?
Oh, I've been working like a dog. It's been like 6 day weeks, 10, 11, 12-hour days. It's been pretty rough, but today's been a good day. I've got to play a lot of video games today. So I say video game today.
Which video game would that be, sir?
That would be Remnant 2, which
I heard it's good.
The audience, it is absolute fire. Go get the game now. I promise you will not regret it.
Nice. So no Just Gaming podcast.
We've had a 2-week hiatus. Ian's been back home meaning Indiana.
All the way back in Indiana. Ian,
all the way back. Yeah,
he's in Indiana.
He's in Indiana 8, but a California 2, so he gets it.
You can't. Wow. Ian, you can't be like getting away from your podcast that long. Get back to it, buddy. Get back to it. Anyways,
we'll be back next week for sure.
Definitely want to hear you guys again. And Cassie, welcome back. This is your second time on the show, and not going to be your last for sure. I enjoy your conversations here with us, and of course, enjoy your opinions. Even when I don't agree, like I said, I love your convictions. I love your stances on things. Like you just, you have convictions, which a lot of people don't. And I totally vibe with that for sure. So welcome back. How have you been?
Everything's good, man. Just been... playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm like 70% through it. Been playing a lot of multiplayer, like Chivalry 2. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but if you're into like blood and gore multiplayer, it is something I keep going back to, and Fortnite, and just I've been wanting to play games with my friends. So I'm like literally going from different multiplayers, just anything to just hang out with the homies and just have a good time. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So
Nice. Well, welcome back. I see a lot of people in the chat. Thank you. No, Hargeet, I did not see your response because I got to tell you guys. So I had a cancellation today, and I was running around looking for guests, and of course, I've got these two fine guests here today. But I sent some out. Hargeet was one of those people. I did not receive anything right away. So I was just like scrambling, and I found somebody, and that is why I didn't respond. So See, Hargeet would have jumped on as well.
Oh,
Hargeet, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the late response. I guess that's, it was 15 minutes ago. Yeah, but thank you, Hargeet. Definitely we'll have to have you on very soon. But yeah, I just, anyways, let's just get into it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's so humbling to have people out there that are willing to jump on last minute like that. Seriously appreciate you, Hargeet. That's awesome. But now you get to sit in the chat and just yell at me from the chat as usual. Where are these dogs, everyone? I never met one. Blind Riot. I'm just reading some chats here. Welcome, Cerebral Assassin, A. Lopez 83, Blind Riot, Alex SS, the man who gives me a hard time about wanting to play Jedi Survivor and now not finishing the game because performance issues. And he's like, I told you so. I told you it was going to happen. He was right. It happened.
That it's sad to be right in that scenario because like at this point you
Nobody
stand
wins.
a high percentage of being right when you're saying, oh, that game's gonna come out broken and that one too and that one too.
Yo, Web Dave, I see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Danny Passion Official, you too, brother. I appreciate you guys every week. I see the same faces and it just makes me very, very happy. Appreciate you guys. Hargeet gets to tell at Fonz today. Okay. Let's get into our first topic, guys. Let's talk a little Diablo 4. Cassie, are you playing Diablo 4 at all?
I plan to go back to the game. I put about put a lot of time into it. I think like 30 hours. And it was fun. But it's like the more you learn about this game, the more disinterested, like at least for me, start to become. Because it's one of those things where you first get it, everything's cool. Now they're talking about like season content, and I keep hearing like things that are sounding sus, and I'm just like, oh no. And then they drop this new patch that just nerfs everyone across the board. And that's like, wow, like what incentive do I have? Like I want to have at least some form of power fantasy in the game, you would think, especially when you put a lot of time into it, right? Like I feel like devs just they have a hard time just giving gamers a sense of like something that I feel like, oh man, I feel like a badass. Like when it comes to live service games, they have a hard time fulfilling that feeling.
Yeah. No, I heard about the big nerf that happened across the board. Have not experienced it yet. Have not got a chance to jump on and see what it did to my current character, which I play a rogue. But I heard it really nerfed the sorcerer really bad. I don't
Sorceress
know.
and the Barbarian, both.
The source. Okay, so Mark, you are currently playing the game, right? Or you have been playing the game?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about these nerfs? Are they really that damaging to these characters?
Yeah. Okay. So what they changed was the damage types: vulnerability, your cooldown reduction.
Oh, and that's huge. Vulnerability is huge. Everybody's using that. Yeah.
Yeah. The way that they had set it up in the first place was it's basically the key point to each build. Every build uses vulnerability, and then they nerfed it to shit. So yeah. So I started a seasonal barbarian just to see how bad it would be, and it was like I got to probably like level 9. And I was like, I'm good. I'm not. I'll come back. Probably. I don't know. Did y'all watch their campfire where they talked about the patch that they'll never do this again?
No.
So what happened was they did so many nerfs, but they didn't give us anything in return for it. You know what I mean? The seasonal content that they added isn't enough to keep most people interested. It's weird because it's not going to affect really the hardcore people that like to play the game, but the mass people who bought this game are the casual ARP players. And they don't understand why, even if they're not doing seasonal content, playing on their normal character now feels terrible to play. They nerfed XP, so XP was slower to get. I mean, there's all kinds of stupid stuff. So, if you don't like Diablo, come back in about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Wow,
that's probably when it's going to be. I'm being serious. It's probably when it's going to be good again.
Why would you say that?
Because okay, the vanilla part of the game, like the base game is good. It's a good structured game, but they've got a lot of balancing to do, and they don't know what they're doing with their balancing. You understand when you just the kind of nerfs that they did, they literally just looked at a stat sheet of what everyone's using and go, okay, we're gonna go ahead and lower all the stuff on that instead of saying, okay, well now there's all these viable builds. They just instead of people just using one type of build, like Rogue, you should be fine going to play. Rogue is actually the S tier for the season, so you're good to go.
Yeah. I heard that was the least damage, but still, it was still nerfed pretty bad. I heard that it was up to 60% with certain vulnerability and stuff. But here's the thing. They do this in the name of balancing, right? And I hate when they use this excuse because we know at the end of the day what it really is. They saw a bunch of people just destroying stuff on the screen and decided, hey, let's slow these people down. You got a lot of people out here complaining about the game, saying there's not enough content, not enough stuff to do. Oh, and you're doing this over here with season 2, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. They said, okay, well, we'll slow the game down. So that way you're not blazing through it. That's what they're doing. It's obvious to me. These types of games.
They said that's not why they did it.
They said they didn't do it that way.
Yeah,
of course,
we didn't intentionally slow it down.
They said it. It was in the name of balancing, right? That's what they wanted to do. It's a balancing fix, and essentially what they've done is broken certain classes, and it's ridiculous when they do this sort of stuff. I don't know if you two are like me or anybody in the chat, but when I play a game and I invest a lot of time into, say, an RPG like this, and I've got a character where I make him super powerful, and him or her, and I'm like feeling so tough, and I go through certain levels and I'm just wrecking stuff because I've put in 70 freaking hours in the game. I should be rewarded that way. I feel like that is my reward for putting in that time. I cannot stand, and this is a big debate, but I hate class leveling. I hate level scaling. I hate when they scale the enemies up to your level, no matter if it's like the first dungeon you do or the last. Like, oh, you're going back to that now that you just, destroyed when you were, a peon in the game. Now that you're uber tough, you should be able to go back and just wreck everything in one hit. No, you can't, because level scaling. I loathe level scaling in the game. I don't like it.
Makes everything just feel samey. Like everything is just the same the whole way through, and you don't really feel like you've earned anything because everything is scaled for you to constantly be, in a fighting position. But like RPGs, like I want to level up. I want to grind and earn that feeling of being a beast, and they don't really like to provide that in games anymore.
No, well, ARPGs in general are like almost all of them. Okay, let's take Diablo IV and just set it to the side. All of them are all about power fantasy. Okay, it's you build your character up and then you just blow through dungeons. Right, that's what they are. And Diablo IV, Blizzard got away from that for some reason. Like I'm not sure why they've done it the way that they've done it. Like I'm talking about, they're having problems with putting enough enemies on screen for not technically. The game can run it. I'm just saying that they're just not adding enough groups.
They're just not doing it.
Stuff. Yeah, they're just not doing it, and I don't understand why they would make all the changes that they did with this 1.1 patch that just makes the game not fun. You know what I mean? It's just not fun. It's a chore to play. So
yeah, I see people in the chat agreeing. Blind Riot says, "Amen, Fonz. Level scaling blows. It does. It absolutely does." And
the only thing I don't mind about level scaling is the fact that I could play with you, and even though I'm a higher level, right? I'm fighting stuff my level, you're fighting stuff your level. I like that part of it. But yes, when it feels like you're on the struggle bus the entire time, it kind of sucks.
And this is the point of contention, really. It's like, why can't they separate the two? Why can't they say, okay, when you play with other people, we can do the level scaling. But if you're on your own, you can be uber tough and just destroy.
A lot of it has to do with the always online situation, because there's no offline mode in this game.
True. That
and
is
I think that's a
big issue.
It's a huge issue, especially when you're getting when you're having situations where you can't even log in. That's something that they've been dealing with here and there, and yeah, just I wouldn't mind having like a build where I'm playing online and I can join up my friends, and then like the lonely bitch build where I'm on my own, and then there's like something different. There's a different situation that they actually make two different types of games. So it's like two different things to experience if they didn't have a level scaling offline mode. That I can I give up all the things with the online and all that just to be able to have my own offline mode that is a different experience that caters more to me for the fun of it. I think that's what they're missing. They just don't care about like fun. Like, can we just have fun? And they're just so they're just thinking about everything
oh my
else
God. I was just
besides
going to
that.
say that. I was just going to say, look, it's all about fun at the end of the day. And what were people doing with this game prior to this? Having a blast with their friends.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You see people having fun, and even in this game with the level scaling, at least you could get to the point with all these characters because of those mechanics they put in the games, like the vulnerability and stuff, and things that you use within the games for your class. You can actually be super tough and you can destroy things. Remember the beta, when the beta dropped, everybody was using the necromancer because the exploding corpses was just destroying everything. And they were just like, oh my God, this is just so much fun. People were going through it, having a blast with that. Why take that away from people? Why take away the fun from gamers? If they're having fun with your game and they're not complaining about it, why the hell do you fix it in the name of balancing? You ruined it. You ruined the fun.
So
It's not their priority.
So with those big changes, this is also in their little thing that they had. Level 100 dungeons, the nightmare dungeons, are near impossible to beat for level 100 characters. They were near impossible to beat because they took away their damage, and their damage reduction was another one. So stuff that you should be able to clear was just one-shotting people. Have you ever played an MMO where they come out with an expansion and they do a level squish, where they bring all your power down so that they can do that's what this feels like for a season, and it just didn't make sense for this type of game.
I believe World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Final Fantasy does it. I mean, they all do it. All the MMOs, they have to, right? And I think they did it way too early. Like they pulled the rug too fast without giving us any toys to play with. Basically,
World of Warcraft used to do it purposely every season to make people spend the $10 to jump to a different class. Do you remember that? They would have one S tier class. Everybody would jump to that class because, oh, that's the new S tier. Let's go after that. Oh, but it costs you $10 to switch classes, right? Everybody would do that. That's the way they did that. And that's why they used to do that in WoW, because they knew that $10, you were going to spend that to jump over.
And my favorite thing that they added, this is so crazy. They did this on the patch before the season, is the load screens. Remember how you said the load screens would have either like the door to hell or the whispering tree or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But now it's your character and what your character's wearing. They did that right before the season because season opens up all their cosmetics.
Oh, I've got to point it out here. Darn Thread, you're absolutely wrong. He says, hilarious how y'all equal easy as fun. It's not even about that. It's about you putting in the time and effort into your character to the point where you get him super powerful. You should be able to keep that. If you spent that time, if you invested so much time and it is fun for you, you should not have that taken away. That is ridiculous that the developers have this power. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword here with the always online thing. Because on one hand, well, I shouldn't say that, with modern gaming today, just having the internet access at all for these developers, because on one hand, yeah, they can fix things that may be broken, but on the other, they can do things like this and ruin the fun. Now, the problem with that is that, with modern gaming, all these, I feel like if there was a problem to begin with that needs fixing, you should never have let your game out the gate, period. So it's like, it sucks that we're in the situation we are. But it is what it is. I mean, this is what's happening.
I feel like this is on purpose. Like, oh, let's make the game genuinely fun out the gate, so to encourage all these people to buy, and then afterwards, yeah, we'll
No,
nerf the shit out of
No,
it.
no, I
no.
think
I
it's
think I
just
just think they honestly. I honestly don't think they knew. They. I'm just saying they don't know what they're doing. I'm just. They're trying to figure out this live service part of Diablo
yeah.
and how to balance it for longevity, and they just don't know how to do it. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, because it's like with me with Borderlands 3. I was super hyped for Borderlands 3,
Oh,
and it's like this is how like they ruin your fun. You go through the game, you crunch the numbers, and figure out what build, what setups make you absolutely decimate enemies, just for a Gearbox to drop a patch every 3 days that completely nerfs the build that you crunched the numbers with, that you spent all this time experimenting with, nerfs it into the ground. So it's like this stuff that you earned by not just playing the game, but also using your brain to find these little exploits that are very satisfying for you personally, just to have them just completely smashed into the ether by an update. It was like every time they would drop an update, oh, here comes the time where they ruin my fun. And it's like you have to accept it if you want to play with your friends. It is what it is.
Like it's when they completely nerfed. Like I played the Beastmaster in Borderlands 3. Right, they completely nerfed them to where it was like not even viable to play anymore, and left like what's her name, the Siren, left her completely busted, like absolutely busted. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't make sense for balancing purposes to only affect one character. Yeah, Gearbox can suck it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, so can Blizzard right now. It's look, across the board, you still see, yes, there's people out there that are defending the patch and everything. And I see you, Boba Fett. He says at least they're supporting post-launch. So many teams don't do this at all. Yep. I get that. But at the end of the day, when they take that fun element away from a lot of gamers out there, is that really supporting the game? Or is that ruining fun?
And this is going to absolutely going to hurt them in the long run, because the majority of the people that bought this game are casual gamers. And like I said, let's say you're a sorceress and you get on and you don't understand seasons. You go to play your character and it just doesn't work. Like it just doesn't work. Are you going to continue to play that game? No, you're going to get mad and you're going to go play something else. I mean, if they're trying to keep people, in the game, then this wasn't a good first step for them.
Look, you know how you could tell it's a lot of casuals playing this game? Look at the uproar when people heard Season 2, I got to start a new character over. It's like, welcome to Diablo. This is what happens with all Diablos. Like, it's as if they've never played a Diablo before. So that's how I know that there's a lot of casuals playing it. Plus, I know personal friends of mine that are playing the game that never played a Diablo before. And they're like, this game is really fun. And yes, they're pissed off with these nerfs because a lot of them were sorcerers. Mm-hmm. And they're like, now my character is garbage.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I heard that one got hit the hardest.
Straight doo-doo. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is what it is, people. At the end of the day, I would just say that, again, we're in a time where this is modern gaming for you. The developers have that access to change the way the game is played, especially when it's always online. It's a live service game like this. It's kind of like buyer beware, when you get into games like this, you never know how they're going to end up. Even if it starts out great, they can become total trash by the end. And I'm not saying it's trash. I still think it's a great game. I have not tried the nerf, but like you said my rogue was pretty good still.
Yeah, your rogue's still pretty good.
I'll still play the game and have fun with it, but I hope they fix this. And you said that it was going to take.
They've got a patch. Time. They've got another patch coming out in a week and a half or something to try to fix some of the missteps. But for a lot of it, there's just nothing that's going to change until later. So it just is what it is. If you're not happy with it and it's boring to you, play another game. There's other games to play. You got Baldur's Gate 3 coming out at the beginning of next month. Remnant 2's out. I mean, there's stuff to play.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Starfield coming out. I mean, there's stuff to be able to play to eat your time up. So
yeah, I'm hearing Baldur's Gate 3 from a lot of people, close friends of mine that started playing the game early access on PC. Mm-hmm. They've never played Baldur's Gate before, but they're saying the story is incredible. Like it is really good.
Incredible. I've played early access for 115. No, I'm at 120 now. 120 hours.
Damn.
And it is. I'm telling you, it's good. It is going to be a fire game. So
Yeah, it's
I've never heard such like glowing praise from early access, like across the board. Everyone that I've heard that has played the game in early access has nothing but great things to say about it. So I'm like, oh, really? Like, I'm gonna have to check this out. I've never messed with Baldur's Gate. I'm not really big into D&D, but if there's an awesome RPG experience that's very choice oriented, I'll give it a go.
hyper choice oriented and best played with friends. So like this is a great friend game to play.
but I heard you can also play it by yourself and have a
Oh
great
yeah,
time.
no. I'm gonna play it by myself before I play with anybody. But
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too with games like that. I'm looking forward to playing the game. Of course, I'm going to have to play on the. Well, I don't know. It's going to be a while before I get to the game because I will be playing Starfield quite a bit. So Starfield's going to take up the rest of my year once it's out. Like even Spider-Man 2, everything is just going to be put by the wayside, and I'm going to focus on one game for quite some time. I don't think I've put less than 150 hours in any single player RPG from Bethesda. So Fallout 4, which is in my opinion the worst Fallout, and that's not to say that it's a bad game, but it's the worst Fallout game, and I put in 259 hours in that game. That tells you how much I like Bethesda single player RPGs. And the reason why I say it's the worst one is because it's the one with the least amount of choice that actually affects your character.
The most disappointing thing about it for me, I was so hyped back when like Fallout 4 was first like announced. Everyone was saying like, "Oh man, the graphics look like crap," and I'm just like, "No, man! Like, have you played like these older games? Like, I was standing the shit out of it just to be hit with. Well, if you're big into RPG and choice aspect of Fallout, well, this is the worst of it all, and that's kind of the sad thing about Fallout 4. I'm hoping that Starfield makes a turn for the better. I'm seeing a lot of great role play aspects that they have here that I think is going to be really cool. I'm hoping for the best. I was kind of very skeptical because the past, few years since Fallout 4, to me, it's been like a downhill for Bethesda, but I'm hoping Starfield rekindles their RPG prowess, man. Like, definitely shoot
and
your
I
shot,
think they
man.
will. I think they will, especially when they talk about Starfield in the way they have been. They're saying that it's pretty much more akin to their older titles that give more choice. So if they do give you that element of choice that actually affects your character, that speaks volumes to me. That's huge for me. That's one of the reasons why I really love the Mass Effect series. It was really good back in the day. But yeah, it's because of that choice, man. At the end, I want to know what I do here. Is this going to kill off a guy that a team member of mine that I really like, or somebody that that goes with me on these missions and stuff? That kind of stuff is awesome in my opinion. I love that element of choice that affects the people around you within game and everything. It's awesome, man. I cannot wait for that game. I just can't wait to fly from planet to planet, checking out what they got going on there, even if there's nothing there. And it's just a beautiful planet. I will sit there and look at the stars, look at the environment. I will explore. I love the exploration aspect of it. And even when you were kids, I do it now. I look up at the stars all the time and I think, damn, what the hell is out there? I'd love to visit up there. And we get to do that within this game. And God, it's exciting to me. It's exciting, people.
Like I said, I'm just hoping it's good. That's all. I'm just hoping that it's good.
The older I get, the more I'm chasing that feeling I got when I first played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, because that was like the first game that I could really remember that it's just like you get out of this prison and it's just go anywhere. And
do you remember that feeling when you stepped out of that?
Oh man.
When you came out of the sewer and you looked at the environment, the land, even though we were back on the 360 days, it looks like crap now if you go back to the 360, but back then that was like the pinnacle. Amazing. You were like, holy crap, look at all this.
Sweet.
And I could go over there. And then they came out with horse armor and ruined everything. Ruined gaming, Bethesda. Damn you with that horse armor. They got me for that freaking horse armor too.
Oh, I bought it too.
I bought it. It was like $5 or something. And I thought it
added all that stuff.
I thought it added something to your horse. I thought it was like a cool thing that had like he can use it and he'll be more viable now and he'll be tougher because he's got this armor. No, it was just vanity.
Nope.
And I was like, what the F is this? And that, my friends, is when I found out the dangers of microtransactions all the way back then. Because I was a young adult at the time and I was like, wait a minute, I spent $5 on a cosmetic piece for my fucking horse. Excuse my language, but I was pissed. I was mad after I bought it.
See, I was, I guess I was lucky in that sense because I was like, a very young teenager at the time. And I was doing enough, I was working enough to finesse my dad at enough money for Xbox Live, let alone to pay for like cosmetic DLC.
Yeah, no, and
I'm
I
a
taught my
sucker for a
kids
good skin. I can't help it now. Like
See, I taught my kids about that too, about the dangers of microtransactions and everything. And my kids listen to me. They did pretty well because I hear my son sometimes. He's 18 now, but I hear him make fun of his friends for buying skins and stuff all the time. And I'm like, good for you, son. Good for you, because it's trash.
A little
right?
hazing goes a long way.
Oh man.
But other than that, I raised them all wrong because, being a console guy and everything and having only consoles in the house, they all became PC gamers. All of them.
Because they know where it's at.
All of them.
Heck yeah.
So
they know where the fun's at.
I'm going to end up getting a PC next year myself because
nice.
The consoles just I love them, but it's getting to the point where it happens every generation. I fall into the hype train about, okay, this generation, they're going to really push performance. Okay. But in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, no, they're not. Developers are always going to push for fidelity. They're always going to push for the next big innovation in graphics, which is ray tracing right now and global illumination, all this stuff, the lighting. And it's really taxing on the hardware. And when you have these consoles that aren't really that powerful, especially now, back when they first launched, they were pretty decent consoles. But technology has moved so far from that already that they're left behind. And that leads me into my next topic.
Yeah, devs are just concentrating on vanity with ray tracing. And it's just like, you're on budget hardware. Like, there's realistically, vanity is not really an option when it comes to ray tracing. You're using all these resources for what?
Exactly. Risk it for the biscuit. He says, is this a PC podcast? No, this is a gaming podcast, which includes PC, sir. All of, these platforms that are available to us to play games on are something that we can, or at least welcomed here and can be talked about here on my show, because it's gaming. At the end of the day, you're playing the same games as these PC guys. They just play them at higher fidelity or more frames. That's it. I mean, but they're playing the same game. Exactly. It's all about choice at the end of the day, though. It's gaming. It's all gaming. PS5 Pro. Okay. There's rumors swirling that there's going to be a PlayStation 5 Pro. And I've believed this for quite some time. I think there will be. This rumor has come out from Tom Henderson, which he has, he's talked about a lot of things that came to fruition the past year. So I believe it wholeheartedly. He says that this should be out by next year, end of next year, 2024. And some of the rumors he heard, because he's not very technical savvy, I guess, he says that they're going to focus on frame rates, higher frame rates, 4K resolution, a new 8K performance mode. We'll get into that because just shut up about 8K. And accelerated ray tracing. Again, developers are always going to push for that shiny new thing, and people really want to use ray tracing in their games. I heard for some it makes it easier using global illumination and stuff. I heard that it could make the process of creating games a little bit faster, even though it taxes the system a little bit harder. But 8K performance, let's tackle that first. Okay. All right. So the PlayStation 5, when you bought that, on the box, it says 8K gaming. Okay. How many 8K games are out there? I think there was the Falconeer or whatever it was called, the Falcon whatever game. And it was like this little indie game that can possibly hit 8K at times or something, but it was such a small game. I'm not sure, but we're not really going to get into 8K gaming, are we, guys?
No. What is the need? can we just perfect 4K gaming? Can we even get to consistent 4K gaming? It's all checkerboard nonsense.
Can we get out of 720p gaming for consoles?
Yes.
Can we get out of that first? Because that's
like,
what's
they
happening.
always tell you on these hopes and dreams of bullshit, and then when you buy in, and I'm guilty of it too. I have a Series X, I have a PS5 in hopes that maybe these consoles can hopefully hold their own, because I don't mind. I like the aspect of simplicity with the console, given I give up choice for that. But sometimes I don't mind giving up choice to just say, hey, I just want the thing to fucking work and just be done with it. Like that's a cool thing. But these consoles, they're always oversold. They're never going to really consistently achieve all of these things that they're being sold to you on. You have to take that into account. And just the real question is, how low is the performance and the general specs going to be? That's what I want to know. Not how high, because we're never going to consistently see that, even like 1/3 of the time. So,
but yeah,
no, it's there's a couple problems I have with this whole. I'm not saying that PlayStation isn't making a pro. They've already trained both Microsoft and Sony from last generation. Console makers make all of their money off of software, right? So the easiest thing for them to do to double dip you is to sell you a mid-gen refresh. Okay, so now they've got you to buy 2 of their consoles plus the software. Then you've got the software upgrades, right? The problem that I have with what he said, and I've got it pulled up right here, is that their upgrading system will target more consistent frame rates on 4K. Mm-hmm. That doesn't say better frame rates, just more consistent, meaning that they're going to finally give you what they sold you in 2020. That's basically what they told you was 4K 60, right? The 8K resolution, I'm not saying it's not possible.
I doubt they're even going to be 4K 60 games. I think it's going to be variable, like it's going to be going back and forth from 1080p to, scaling. It's going to be scaling.
Yeah, that's what that's about to get to, is most games on console are not native 4K anyway when you're showing them in 4K. It's upscaled. And people are, well, that doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference. There's a difference there in power, right? So they use a lot of tricks to try to get you the 4K and the frame rate. And like you can bring up the Starfield debate of it being at 30 frames per second. It is what it is. Like these consoles they're probably 4K 30 is really good for these consoles, really good for that hardware. It's trying to get people to buy an 8K television, trying to get people to buy an 8K monitor. You're out of your flipping mind. A monitor for a 4K monitor, like a good one, you're talking like $500-$600. Even higher. I mean, that's the cheap ones.
Well, yeah.
It's crazy.
Boba Fett Gaming is 100% right in the chat. He goes, 8K is at least 5 years off. Look at the TVs they sell. They're not selling a bunch of 8K TVs. They're selling
and they will
eventually.
TVs. They will eventually.
Eventually, yes. But even on PC gamers with 4090s aren't playing in 8K. They're not going nowhere near that. Most of them are even playing 1440p to get the highest frames possible.
Yeah, 1440p is the sweet spot on PC. That is the sweet spot.
And honestly, it's a sweet spot for console gaming. I would love for them to just stick to 1440p, 60 frames. That's where I would like to go. Eventually, yes, when they can. Yeah, it's harder to tell the difference for sure, but I don't have a problem with that. Now, how do you guys feel? I'll go to you, Cassie, first. How do you feel about mid-gen refresh consoles in general?
I mean, ideally speaking, I kind of feel differently in certain situations, and particularly this generation. Why is there going to be a mid-gen refresh like next year or the year after when we barely even get next-gen only games as it is? I don't even feel like you've fulfilled what we've purchased right now.
Good point.
But really, I have to justify what is the point of these consoles when you're going to have to get these mid-gen refreshes to keep up. Like, you're figuring you're going to spend over $1,000 every generation now. Might as well just go to PC. Like with $1,000, you can build a PC that definitely rivals, that comes close to the consoles. And if you're going to be spending that money anyway, why wouldn't you pick the option that has more choice, that where you have more control over what you can what you can do with all of these games? It just, for me, that's just what it is. it's harder to justify even purchasing these consoles anymore, especially when we're sold on things that don't even come to fruition for many a year's time.
You are so spot on, because that is the mindset I'm starting to have with console gaming. It's on one hand, it is about the developers and their need to really push graphic fidelity, because again, this is what the casual audience really likes. This is what they gravitate to. Whenever a new generation starts, the first thing a casual does is go, wow, what are those graphics going to look like? And then they see the graphics and they get mind blown. They don't really have much access to 60 frames gaming outside of maybe racers and fighting games. So they really don't really know how it is until they start playing more games, especially like open world games or 3D action adventure games in 60 frames. And then you start to learn, hey, this is a whole lot better experience than 30. It's not until that point. So most casuals are coming from that console market generation to generation. They're looking at the graphics. It's that, and it's also a combination of the fact that, like you were saying, where I lost my train of thought. What were you saying earlier? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'll come back to that other point I was going to make. I hate this. I hate getting old, people. I hate it. But anyway, what was it about? What was it about? I forgot. Let's move on.
Well, all these mid refreshes, and generally speaking,
yeah.
They don't even give us like we aren't getting consistent flow of next gen only games.
Oh yeah, that was my other point. My mindset about the consoles, because now it's getting to the point where a mid-gen is always expected since last generation, right? Especially for PlayStation, obviously. We'll get into the Xbox situation because I think it's a bit different over there. But you're looking at a situation where if I'm going to spend $550 for a base console when the generation starts, and then 3 years later spend another $550, $600, because let's be honest, how much is this going to cost? They just raised prices 3 years after the console launch. Like, how can you raise prices then and then announce a PS5 Pro so you know it's going to be more expensive? So let's say $600. At that point, I'm spending over $1,000 on consoles.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like, and I did it last generation. And then there was two different companies I was buying consoles for. So I did mid-gen refreshes on both sides. So then what did I spend? I ended up spending close to $2,000. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Because the point of entry for PC gaming is costly. It's high. It's higher than the consoles. But once you buy into it, you make your money back with Steam sales. Games are cheaper overall. You don't have to pay for online experiences. Like it's just different. You will get your money back that way. And I'm not just advocating just for PC guys and telling you guys, oh, throw away your consoles. It sucks. No, it's just my personal mindset. I'm looking at the situation. I'm going, why am I spending all this money on consoles when it's not giving me what I want out of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
both versions have a reason to exist. PC has a reason to exist. Console has a reason to exist. It's just, I think more so, I think there's a lot of console gamers that think PC is not for them, when really, when you think about it, like if you're really invested in gaming entirely more than just, your average casual, it's worth giving a shot, man, especially when you can grab the industry by the balls. Like, like with a console, you're forced to just accept what they give you. And for me, I'm just over that situation. I want to have more control over what I can and can't do. And to me, that is worth it just on that alone. Some people are okay with just accepting what they get. And I get that. Like, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge you based on that. If that's how, you conduct yourself.
And again,
that's
like me, I can't, especially like right now, I can't afford to go out and just get a PC. So for me, yeah, the looking at a $500 console is like my go-to. It's like, okay, this is how I get into next gen gaming. I get the console and I play the games. So I get it. Not everybody can do that sort of thing. I have to save up to try to get into PC, but that is my choice. And that's what I want to say. It's not about bashing anything. Somebody said, Magnum Westward said, this is a fun podcast, just bashing gaming nonstop. Nobody's bashing gaming. What we're doing is we're just talking about the differences with everything going on with gaming and how there's so much choice out there. I mean, you don't have to spend money on a PC if you don't want to. You can buy a mid-gen refresh if you want to. That's totally up to you. And I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Like, no, I would never do that. That's your prerogative. I'm just here to say that this is my choice. This is what I'm going to do in the future. Because let's be honest, talking about this mid-gen refresh stuff, Mark, I'm hearing that Xbox is not going to respond to a PlayStation 5 Pro.
No, I heard, I think Phil quoted that he's happy with the hardware that they have right now, which with him could always be like right now means just, right now, not tomorrow. Right. But the tricky part with the Xbox, I've got a lot to come back with the PlayStation part. The tricky part with the Xbox is because they came out with two different SKU points of two completely different hardwares.
Yeah.
And the majority of what they could get out was the S. And so most consumers have the S. The X is still the hardest to get. Even out of the PlayStation 5, the X is still the hardest to get.
Yeah.
You're going to alienate your whole consumer base by doing a mid-gen refresh and not even them being able to just get an X. So I don't see how they are going to be able to put out a mid-gen console other than they're going to say that the X is where you're going to play your next-gen games and the S is where you're going to stream them.
Yeah, because how could they put out something that's substantially more powerful than, say, the Series X when you have an S? You would really have to loosen up the parity between the S and that new console, and that would be a wide gap, super wide gap. Because it's already a wide gap now with the Series S and X. Imagine if you have something that is just substantially better than the X. I don't see them loosening that parity because that would, again, like you said, Mark, it would alienate millions of gamers out there that have bought into the S, and you cannot do that. You cannot do that. It would be death for them. But
personally, I think the parity is just wrong. You chose to pay less for your console, and with that should be stipulations and limitations. I think that's natural. I think it's messed up that people that paid more are forced to get less just because
I would agree with
the
you.
individuals that paid less chose to pay less.
I would agree with you, Cassie.
This is the main art. Go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in real quick. Cassie, I would agree with you 100% on that. I feel kind of the same way. However, it's not what they sold them. They sold them on parity.
I agree.
So that's the problem. It's
Xbox
their fault.
effed
It's
up.
their bad.
Yeah.
And that's the and this isn't, like I said, I'm not trying to be just pro PC. I mean, the main reason I went to PC is because Xbox Game Pass went to PC. That's the only reason. I didn't have to buy into the console. I can play it on PC. PC doesn't have parity, right? And everyone says that, we're limited in console because PC has so many different deals. No, that's not how it works. Your PC can either do it or it can't. It's not like a console where the game has to work. When they put it in, it has to work, right? So PC, I can tweak, do whatever I need to, but either I have the specs for it or I don't. You know what I mean? Either I can play the game or I can't. But back to the PlayStation 5, doing the mid-gen refresh. This is more of a marketing thing for them, I think, than it is anything. And the reason I say it's a marketing deal, once they do a mid-gen refresh, how available are those parts going to be to get? How hard was it to get the PS5 out? It was pretty tough.
I don't know. Now they're saying they're getting the parts in, but that's another issue.
Oh,
PlayStation 5 just started rolling out PlayStations to everybody. So you've got a whole slew of people that have just bought a PlayStation 5 this year.
Yep.
And you're shitting on them, Sony.
But here's the thing. If you look at it like with the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, okay, all the games that are on the PS4 Pro were on the PS4. I imagine the same thing's going to happen with this one. You're going to have the same on the PS5 Pro versus the PS5. So what they're going to do is all the people who don't have a PS5, they put this out. They're going to spend the more money on the other deal, right? And then they're going to get to charge them again, and the people who are also going to buy a Pro, they get to charge them again to move the game into a PS5 Pro version or a remastered version or however they do it. And that's not just on Sony, that's on the whole market. There's going to be third-party companies that jump on that train. We're probably going to see, I almost guarantee we will see a Grand Theft Auto 5 upgrade to PS5 Pro. I guarantee it. I mean, it's gross, really. It is. Unless this generation is going to last 10 years, it's not really worth just getting a refresh. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, again, that's subjective, of course, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to think about that. But I know how I would feel if I had just bought a PlayStation 5, let's say even 4 months ago, and now I hear that the Pro's coming out next year. I'd be livid.
Oh yeah.
I'd be pissed that because for me, somebody who loves that power, I'm going to sit there and go, now I have to buy that because that's just how I roll. That pisses me off that I spent this money on this one. So even if I sell this, I'm going to get half the price that I bought it for. It's like, it would just make me really upset.
It's awful.
But do you guys?
If you're casual, you're fine. But if you're an enthusiast, you get screwed. That's just what it is.
Do you guys feel that maybe because Xbox releases all their games day one in PC, on PC, that they may feel like that if you want more performance, they're just giving you that avenue. They're saying, okay, go get a PC then, rather than just putting out a mid-gen refresh.
No, I don't think that. I think it boils back down to the S is why they're not going to do a mid-gen refresh. I mean, they may, but the thing with Microsoft, let's say they do a mid-gen. The thing I like the most about Microsoft is the fact that they just move stuff over. I don't have to pay extra to play this game here. I don't have to do anything like that. Yeah. It's just in my library. I can play it on that piece of hardware. So yeah, it's man, it's tricky. I don't want to bet on it, but I really don't believe that Microsoft's going to do anything. I just don't. I
don't either because of that S. And that's not to say the Series S is a bad console, guys. Don't get it twisted. The Series S, what I'm hearing from the developers and stuff, and we've seen this across the board, except for the one particular developer who keeps bashing on the Series consoles, on both, by the way, even the X on Twitter. You guys may have seen him. That guy is a total PlayStation fanboy. He's not just an indie dev. He's a fanboy. And he just says all kinds of just stupid shit. So anyways, but I do feel like that these, that they're not going to do anything because, Series S, I was talking about the Series S. The Series S itself is not a bad console, but from what the developers are saying is it just takes a lot more time to optimize for the Series S. So, I mean, that's what's happening right now with Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. They don't want to let their game come out without that 60 frames mode, no matter what platform it's on. So they have decided, okay, we're going to take more time to make sure it runs great on the Series S as well. They didn't come out and say, hey guys, this console sucks. We can't run it at 60 frames. It's not going to work. It's never coming to Xbox. No, it just takes more time. And this is what I'm hearing from a lot of developers. And because it takes more time, that is kind of a limitation in a lot of ways, because you have situations where the competitor, if you don't own the other platform, PlayStation 5, you're not going to be able to play something on the Xbox because, well, they're not bringing it out because they want to take time to optimize for it. So situations like that, it's rare, but it can happen. And, it is what it is.
I mean, the Hogwarts team did the same thing. I mean, just now, I think next month, Hogwarts is going to hit the Switch finally. So it's like they took their time too. They started at the higher end, then they held off for the last generation consoles, and now they're moving, onto the Switch, which is like the best thing you could do for a consumer, I think. Honestly,
it's the right thing to do, because to release broken versions across different platforms is completely unacceptable.
It is.
Yeah, but at this point, it's also unacceptable if they were to loosen that parity clause between the S and the new console, if they were to release one, and it would alienate so many gamers out there. It would piss off so many gamers out there. It would hurt Xbox to do so. And that sucks. But like you said, Cassie, in a world, in a normal, logical world, you buy something that costs more, that's better, well, you should be getting better, right?
What if there's a new series console that comes out that doesn't abide by parity? I feel like that would be interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna.
PC
I
doesn't.
honestly think that. I think the S is gonna be the streaming console for Microsoft. I really do. That's where you're gonna stream the next gen games.
I don't know. A lot of people would be upset. Let me get to some super chats that have to deal with this. They have to deal with this topic, so it's going to be interesting. Whoa, that's huge!
Love it.
Woo!
Oh, Hargeet Shani, my good friend. He says he's celebrating his 21 months of membership. Thank you for doing that, sir. I appreciate you. I'll pose the same question I did on Iron Lord's podcast. If you're Phil, spend $2 billion on a pro console or acquire studios and games. Power has never won a generation. He's right about that. He's right. Power has never won a generation. It's been about the games. So yeah, what do you do? Do you spend the money on a new mid-gen refresh, or do you spend it on games? I say games. Focus on games.
Yeah, I think we need next generation gameplay, not next generation graphics. I don't know if that makes sense to both of y'all. We need next generation games and gameplay, not graphics.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'd say whatever gets these games running in tip top shape, because I mean you can't continue to have stinkers like Redfall. That can't be acceptable.
Well,
If you need to dump more money to make sure these games
the
are
thing about
running up
Redfall is
well,
it doesn't
Really
perform
started.
good, but it also doesn't look great. So like that's an anomaly, right? You can create a game that looks really good at 60 frames on these consoles. You can. I would take, last gen graphics, the best last gen graphics at 60 frames. Give me that all day.
Well, that's what you got at the beginning of these consoles.
Yes,
and that's
that
what
is-
everybody liked. And everybody
Yes.
was like, this is awesome. And then they're like, oh, this one's next gen. Oh, it's 30 frames. Cool.
But then you look at the differences and you're hard pressed to find ray trace shadows in the game. Like, really? Do I really need ray trace shadows in my gaming? No, I don't. That's the kind of stuff I would shut off if I could. Like, give me that option. I know tinkering is not what I want to do, but at the same time, gosh, like some of these games I think would perform way better without some of these features that they're implementing.
Just go with
I hardly
NVIDIA
notice.
when you decide to go. I'm telling you, it's easy. It's just easy mode. It's easy mode.
Risk it for the biscuit with the $8 Australian, which is like $400 US.
That's his whole paycheck. That's awesome.
He says, if we get 1440p at 60 frames with ray tracing, that for me is enough. I'd take that. Also, PC suck. Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
That was definitely for you. Game Shark, he says, mid-gen made sense last gen due to the initially underpowered consoles. Well, we're there again, bud. I'm sorry to tell you, but as good as these consoles may seem, if you compare them to the tech now that's out for gaming, they're not great. They're not. They're not. He says, doesn't make sense this gen. Great show. Great panel, I guess. Thank you very much, Game Shark. I appreciate you, man. Face23 BKNY, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, how long do you PC gamers keep their GPUs before upgrading? Yeah, how long do you keep them before you upgrade?
however long
question.
they
Great question.
choose.
Yep. It depends on when you first buy your card. Okay. Let's say you bought a 30 series card. You're going to have it for about 6 to 7 years. You're going to skip the 4th generation and you're going to get the 5th generation when it comes out. That's when it's time to replace. So you don't have to buy the mid gen. Like I'm in the 30 series right now. Remnant 2, brand new game. I'm playing it at 120 frames per second on ultra settings.
I was talking about that with somebody the other day. I was telling him, you can, let's say you get a 3080 right now. You're good for the entire generation.
Oh yeah.
You will be well
Easily.
beyond a mid-gen refresh console.
Yeah.
With a 3080.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Take this into account. The most popular graphics card is still the 1060, and that came out in like 2016.
Yeah.
People upgrade whenever they feel like it, and
Yeah.
I think that's a great option. I mean, like I have a 3060, and like right now, that's like you can go on eBay and buy one for like $150 or something like that. Like,
Damn.
if you're willing to wait, a reasonable amount of time, you could find some good deals on graphics cards, especially if you're willing to go into the used market.
Yep.
Risk it for the biscuit again. Man, he's just spending all his paycheck, man. Risky, don't have to do that, brother. I appreciate you. He says, losing that wide gap is important, though, Series S. What do you mean losing that wide gap is important? Well, okay, so I guess he's stating that if they were to stop the parity between the S and the new console, that would be something that is important to him, especially, to everybody. It would be.
They're going to have to.
But again, you're going to alienate a lot of gamers, and you're going to piss people off.
They are, but it's go ahead.
Console gamers are chasing something that just simply doesn't make sense on console. You're chasing all this power when really consoles are budget hardware in essence. That's just, it is what it is. That's something that a lot of people refuse to accept.
I'm sorry, man, but Mark Cerny would like to have a word with you. His consoles are always well ahead of everything else out there. Technologically speaking, that man, sorry, he whispers when he talks, But
it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
He reminds me of Jim, not Jim, Dana Carvey.
Yes,
that's what he reminds me of. Dana Carvey. A few old heads out there know SNL from back in the day.
So the S in the Series X is like going out on a date and having to take your little brother with you. Like, you'd have way more fun on the date without your little brother there. But now your little brother's there, so you have to have him there too. It's the dumbest thing ever. And if that's not the best goddamn analogy, it is. It just is.
He's not
It's a good one.
all that wrong. He's pretty spot on there. But that yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move away from that. Face 23 BKNY, he says, thank you very much, brother. He says, if PS5 Pro comes out and the Xbox does not release a Pro model, does that mean you're playing all your multiplats on the PlayStation 5 Pro if you get one? If I were to get one, yes, I would play my multiplats on the most powerful hardware that I had, because that's just a no-brainer for me. A lot of people wouldn't, though, Cassie, and I understand. Like, I used to always think, why do you continue to play multiplats on the lower-end hardware or whatever? A lot of people just like to be in that ecosystem wherever they're at with their friends and everything. And Xbox honestly has the best ecosystem out there. I would argue that to the cows come home. For me, Xbox party chat system, everything that they've got going on there to get you in touch with your friends and all that. It's better, in my opinion, than PlayStation's. And plus, let's be honest, like, I know people argue with this, but for me, my experience, even with the same group of friends that were on the PlayStation that have now moved to the Xbox, they talk a lot more on the Xbox in the party chats than they ever did on the PlayStation. Nobody got into party chats on the PlayStation. It was weird. It was always like a quiet time.
Last gen, the meetup hub was PlayStation 4 for us, for me and my buddies.
Really, was it? Oh,
yeah,
man.
It was.
That's
but
crazy.
After they said, like, oh, the whole reporting system on PS5, you could just send people's conversations to Sony. We literally ditched it for Discord.
A lot of people have went to Discord. That is true. Now Discord's on the PlayStation and Xbox. So Game Shark again says Series XXX would be a horny console. Wow.
Xbox marketing department is dumb enough to do some shit like that, though.
Don't you dare talk about my Xbox marketing. They're the best. All right. Let me get this other super chat here. Gaming Forte. What's up, brother? He says, I don't have a problem with them selling a more powerful system. If you're a hardcore gamer, you had a PS5 close to launch or within 1 year's time at least. Most people being now really don't care for power. No, most people don't care about power. And that's the thing. As a gamer, it's always about the game first, right? It's not necessarily about the way it looks. Although I do love that. I am a graphics whore. I admit to that. But I will admit and say that the gameplay is king. Gameplay is always king. Yep. So you're very right on that.
Do you think people would be interested in a modular console?
That's been brought up many times. And by that, folks, in case you don't know what he's talking about a console in which you can replace parts. So Let's say you replace the GPU in your console, just like you would a PC. I don't think that would be something that most gamers wouldn't like, but there are gamers out there that would like that, like God Emperor Sofa King. He's talked about that before in my chat. A lot of people would like modular consoles. It kind of makes sense when you talk about mid-gen refreshes, right? Rather than just doing that, because these are essentially small form factor PCs anyway. So they have a GPU, a CPU, all that stuff. Why not let gamers change it if they want? Change some of these parts. Just release some parts, right? It'd be cheaper.
You know what's weird? If you just we're just spitball on this. What's weird is, I hear that they're miniature PCs. Why aren't the developers giving console players the same options in their settings? You understand what I'm saying?
Because casuals do not like to tinker. It's too overwhelming. And it is for me, even on a PC, bro. I hate tinkering.
You added it like I told you, go NVIDIA. You'll be all right. But you would think if they could just add an advanced, like you've got your option of, performance and quality. Okay. And then you have an advanced tab where you can actually tweak all the stuff that you want to tweak. You know what I mean? That to me makes more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, there's people like Dead Time that would like all the sliders. Give him the shadows, give him everything to turn down. Yeah, I mean, again, there's a few sliders I wish they would implement on the console side with some of their games, especially like take into account Jedi Survivor. I wish I could turn off ray tracing in the performance mode, because I guarantee if I was able to play that game without ray tracing, it would run at 60. I guarantee it would. It doesn't look that much different. Oh, Cassie is calling back in. Yo, welcome back, Cassie.
Hi.
All right, so she's back. You had somebody in the chat, TSWS Gaming. It's nice to see you, brother. He says, I see Cult Classic is here. Nice. He's excited.
Heck yeah.
Ryan Landis, I see you, buddy. It's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, a lot of people would like a modular console, but most gamers won't. Casuals just, they want their console. Remember the uproar with the PS5 and you had to put in the SSD? The screw? Oh, like, come on.
Remember the stand? People were caving to the PlayStation 5 stand. Imagine a fully modular console.
Yeah. Oh my God. I got to put in freaking a new CPU. I can't do that. Even if it's this plug and play thing, they're going to get upset having to open it. Not everybody, but a lot of people would. A lot of people. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the Spider-Man. You're always laughing at me, man. Always.
I love you, Fonz. I do.
The Spider-Man console. Okay. I'm sure I played it earlier, guys. It was kind of on accident, but I played it earlier. This isn't the console. Well, forget it. Let's play the Spider-Man trailer instead. This is the new trailer, folks, that just came out, along with the console. I should say new plates. It's not like a new console. I think you can buy the console, but you can buy the plates separately. But anyways, guys.
That's actually kind of a cool option.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this trailer here. I'm going to play it. Can you hear the sound at all?
I'm going to take advantage of that.
It might be a little messed up. But anyways, first of all, this is Harry Osborn right here, right? He looks like he's 12.
And so does...
Yep.
I don't...
It's a flashback. It's a flashback.
Heal the world.
Okay. It's a flashback. Let me cut off this sound. Anyways, so we got, Peter and Miles out there swinging around. And, the game looks really good. And I'm looking at everybody and I'm like, wait, what? Who is this?
It's Mary Jane.
Who is this?
It's Mary Jane.
And that is Harry, right? And again, he looks like he might have aged to 15, 16 years old here.
No, that's 18-year-old Harry.
That's 18-year-old Harry.
Yep.
But what is this? 40-year-old Mary Jane?
No, that is.
It looks like it looks like his mom dropping off Harry.
No, the mom's in the background. Her name's Karen. That's Karen.
I don't know, guys, but for me, she just looks much older, does she not?
She started
It's
smoking
so
when she
it's
was 11.
what makes it particularly jarring is because they changed Peter's face with the remaster version of the game, and Peter originally on the PS4 version looked, relatively like he's a bit of an aged Spider-Man, which when you make him look younger and then make her look older, it's going to feel extremely drastic. And I don't know if you
I'm
actually
sorry.
have,
Look, the graphics in general are really good in the game. Don't get me wrong.
yes.
Spider-Man is a great looking title franchise. It's just the choices they've made for these characters. And I know there was a big, problem with changing Peter's face in the original game. And they said it had something to do with his cheekbones, of all things. They said, they couldn't get the motion capture right with the original cheekbones, the original character. And I'm like, just shut up. That's not true. It's because he looked off to me. Even the original one didn't look as, say, realistic as the rest of the humans in the game. There was something off about his face.
Well, if you look at just the symmetry on her face right there, it's kind of askewed to the way the shape of where her neck is positioned. It just looks kind of weird. So it kind of just looks janky.
Yeah, and then so like Peter is there, and then I was like, wait a minute, who is that? Who is the black guy right there? And I was like, oh, is that Miles? Why does Miles all of a sudden look is grown as Peter and Harry? And I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, maybe that's not Miles. Maybe that is what's his name? Jaden Smith. Maybe that's Will Smith's son, because they got similar hairstyle, right?
They all got the Killmonger hairstyle from Black Panther.
I do not like the hairstyle at all, and I've put that out there on Twitter, and most of the people that follow me agree. His hair kind of looks odd. It looks weird. But anyways, why did they even have to change his hairstyle? He had this nice buzz, and it looked cool and everything. And if he's going to have some dreads, make him look like cool dreads or something. It doesn't look cool. Not at all. But neither does Peter, though. Peter don't even look cool. I mean,
Nope, that was Miles. Miles, yeah.
There's just something askew with character design, I think, all the way around. And I know that they tried to make Peter look more like Tom Holland and, maybe mix him with somebody else. But it's just weird. It's just weird to make drastic changes to characters. Yeah. And your point, though, Cassie, the reason why I was talking to you about this, or I wanted you on to talk about this, is because you made a post on Twitter and you talked about how Western developers, it seems, create characters, female characters, and sort of not make them very pretty. Do you think that there's some real truth to that?
It's kind of hard to not notice the reality that, for example, when Japanese devs, they'll cast a very pretty actress and they put their direct likeness of that actress into the games, and guess what? The character models look very, very pretty. They look like the models. And then with Western devs, it's always this thing where they cast a very pretty model to portray a certain character in the game, and then they make them look like the actual character model look a lot less like visually attractive. And it's just like, it's very consistently a thing, and it's just strange, and people keep noticing it and pointing it out. A big one was Fable. If you actually look at the model, she's very, very pretty. And if I was a model, and don't get me wrong, I am average at best. I'm not here to say I deserve to be a model. But if you were to model me into the game and made me drastically, like my character model look ugly, I'd be offended. I'm like, wait, you think I look like that? And it's like, if you're going to choose to make a character model look unappealing, then why don't you cast a model that looks like how you want that character to look? Because it's like a lot of people say, like, oh man, like this is all for the, I guess the politics of the male gaze or whatever have you. And it's like, then why don't you actually do something that goes to, with, the whole feminism movement, and cast someone, a model that maybe isn't perhaps ideally model looking, because that's what you're aiming for with these characters, not model looking visually.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems like they're almost afraid. Like with Japanese and Chinese and Korean developers, they will overly sexualize their female characters. Okay, and it seems like Western developers are afraid to approach that line. You know what I mean? To where what's tasteful.
But why?
And
That's my question.
I don't like with the cancel culture in America. That's probably a lot why, to be honest with you. But
Out of cowardice. That's
yeah, it is. It's out of playing. It's as safe as possible. But yeah, I don't see how they could not do that with their faces though. That doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like her face right there, she looks like Eric Stoltz in The Mask. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Yes.
That's what he looks like.
Oh my God, you said The Mask. Mask with Eric Stoltz. It's not The Mask. I think it's just Mask.
Oh,
That's
just Mask. I'm
crazy.
sorry. Does she not though? I mean, it's crazy.
Kind of, but she looks like a 40-year-old woman to me.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know, man.
Like,
This
at
doesn't
the
look
end of the
good.
day,
Well, she's
I'm a
with Peter,
woman that's-
right? And Peter looks
Yeah.
really young in the game, and then you've got 40-year-old MJ. It just looks like a hub situation here.
weird.
I don't know.
At this point, it has to be like, I'm gonna say it's probably deliberate. You're deliberately doing this. At least be honest about it. At the end of the day, look, I'm gonna pay $70 for this game, right? And you're telling me I have to look at really weird, janky looking people, or people that like Mary Jane that looks really old. Like, why would I want to do that? Even if I make myself and put myself in the game, you think I'm actually not going to make a souped up version of myself? Hell yeah, I'm going to make an exaggerated version of myself. Like, why do I want to play as my neighbor next door, someone that looks very average, like, or
You're
below
right.
average?
You're right.
Why
Yeah.
would I want to play as a 3 out of 10 or even a 6 out of 10? No, I want to play as someone that looks damn freaking cool.
Anybody arguing with you on this, Cassie, they know that's a great point to bring up, because anytime you have a character creation screen, most of these people aren't creating things that look hideous. They're not going to do that. They're going to try to create the
Unless
best
they're
looking
doing it
character
for the
they can.
lulls.
Exactly.
Some people do that for the lulls.
Yes,
and at
I've
that
done
point,
that
it's
for-
like, are
yeah.
the devs doing it for the lulls? Like, that's the question I have to ask. Are they doing it just to make ugly ass characters for the memes of it? Because if that's the case, then that's kind of like, obviously that isn't, but what are we doing here?
I don't know. All I know is I'm looking at a 40-year-old stepmom situation here with this young guy, and it's not
Marissa
cool. It's
Tomei.
weird.
Marissa Tomei as Aunt May in the MCU looks visually more appealing than this Mary Jane.
They look about the same age too, and
Yeah, they
that's
do.
what's weird. It's really weird. That's the biggest thing I see with this. It's not just that she's visually unappealing. It's the fact that she looks much older than Peter, and what that does to me in games like this, it kind of brings you out of that immersion when they do certain things like this.
I want Venom to kill them. That's what I want, because I don't feel anything for these characters. I want Venom and Kraven to have their fucking way
Wow.
with these people. Like, I just don't care.
Wow. It's funny. Chat, how do you guys feel about this? Do you guys think that she looks much older than Peter? I mean, is that just us? And to your point, Cassie, about, the Fable model and everything, you're right. Like, it looks so much different than the real live actress.
If
Model.
I have to play as that character, I will not play the game. I have to play as someone that either looks really cool, or I can sympathize with. Like, it has to be something that pulls me into this character. Like, the reason why I bought Devil May Cry 3 is because I saw Dante on the cover. That is a badass looking MFer. Straight up. Like, he looks so cool. He's got that male sex appeal. Like, somebody that I think is visually attractive. Like,
Yeah.
he looks super damn cool, and not even in a sexual manner. It's just that he is a dude that's like, damn, I want to play as this guy.
Yeah.
And when I look at the chick from Fable, I don't want to play as her.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at her.
Well, do you remember
If anything, I want her character to die.
Do you remember the controversy with Horizon Forbidden West? When that game was first shown, they showed Aloy, and she did look more unappealing than she did in the first
Like a
game.
tomato face.
Yeah, she was a bit heavier. And people were wondering why, and there was a big controversy, and they ended up changing it a bit. They never admitted to that, I don't think. I don't think they have. Don't shoot me. I haven't looked into it. But they did change the way she looked from that first trailer, because she didn't have that big tomato face, and she looked a bit better. However, even if you compare her model to the real-life model, it's a completely different person. The real-life model is a very pretty person.
You ever seen that meme where it's like the two dragons that look super badass, and then it's like there's like a three-headed dragon. Two of them look super badass, and then there's the one on the side that looks like this goofy, dumb version of the dragons. Like, I feel like that's how Western devs make their female characters, if they be protagonists or side characters. It's like the guys, the people in Japan that make these characters, and one of my all-time favorite video game characters is Bayonetta, made by a woman. Designed by a woman, but apparently that's like, that's a big no-no, even though it's like, oh, well, why don't you respect this woman's craft? No, because Bayonetta is too sexy or whatever the heck. Bayonetta is what like second wave feminism is all about, being proud of who you are visually, and not being afraid of flaunting it and controlling how you choose to flaunt your appearance. That was second wave feminism. Now it's like it's kind of weird how feminism is now. I don't get it, but it's like Japan, they're like the badass dragons that look super cool, and then with the West, it's like they're the dopey looking dragon. They make all their female characters look dopey, weird, unappealing all across the board. And if I can't play as a badass in my game, I don't want to play the game.
I will say overall, though, I don't want to bag on the entire game, because the game itself and the storyline and everything looks really interesting and appealing to me.
Yeah.
I really do want to play this game, and I will play this game eventually. However, it's just, their choices on the character looks, it threw me for a loop a bit. And when I saw your post on Twitter, I said, man, I got to have this person on again. I got to have Cassie on again, because she's nailing it. Like, she knows.
Venom and Kraven are Cell, no doubt. It's the villains that are the Cell of this game. Make no doubt about it. I want to play. I would love if they say that. Oh, you have at least a couple of segments where you play as Venom. Don't you think like that is the most badass part of it? When was the last time you got to play as Venom in a video game? It's like, for me, it's Ultimate Spider-Man. I can't remember it another time, really.
And there's got to be
that's the dope thing about it.
And there's got to be a big twist within the game too, because you saw within the trailer, it's kind of making you think that Harry becomes Venom, right? Because they said that Brock wasn't in this game, so it alludes to maybe Harry becoming Venom, but I don't think that's happening. I think they're pushing that a little bit too hard in the trailer. It's going to be somebody else, but what they've done, the cool powers and stuff that you see that Venom can do, I want to play it. I want to play as Venom. I want to see those powers. I want to check them out. But the game looks fun overall. It's just those characters, man.
It's going to be interesting, because when they first were like, when it was rumored that it was going to be more than just Manhattan, that we're going into Brooklyn, Queens, and all that. Like, I'm a New Yorker. I understand, the different boroughs. I lived in Queens. There aren't that many tall buildings in Queens. That's just not as many, as consistently as Manhattan. So like at first I was like, oh no, this is a bad idea, being someone that understands these different boroughs. But the fact that you can use that wingsuit and glide around, that changes things entirely. That's going to make those areas be so much like more enjoyable overall. So the bigger world is cool. How they utilize it, like my one concern, if they can prove to me that the boss battles are going to be way more like user interface friendly.
Thank you. Not just triangle, square, X, triangle. Yeah. Look, QuickTime events were something that was really neat back in the early 90s. When I first saw it, it was like, okay, so you can do stuff that's more visually appealing while using QuickTime events. That's cool. But we're well beyond that now. I want more out of my games. I want more control. And I don't think QuickTime events are it. I do think they need to relax on the QuickTime events, especially with the boss battles, because that happens far too often with every boss battle in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's QuickTime events. It happens too much. But yeah, no, I think, and you know what's interesting though? I have to point this out. So I've been reading the chat as we've been talking about this whole situation, and especially getting into conversations that a lot of people don't like to have with, talking about this stuff because of cancel culture, of course. Most of the people in my chat agree. Most people are like, yeah, you know, Cassie's right. This is what's happening. This is what appears to be happening anyway. And that's the only thing we can deduce when you're looking at the situation. And all we're seeing is pretty model, in-game, not so pretty model. And you're like, what? And you've seen...
I'm called an incel on Twitter.
And you've seen pretty model become pretty model in game in other games. So I don't understand what the difference is, but it's happening. And we're not really, you know, here to judge anybody or anything, but it's just crazy. It is what it is, people. Yeah, Shanti, you can cancel me all you want. I don't care. Okay.
Cancel me first.
I'm just sitting here talking my opinions. I'm not telling you how to think, but this is what we think. Mark, what say you about Spider-Man? Are you into the game?
Yeah, I played it when it came out on PC.
Yeah.
And so like I'm not worried about the models. I'll wait for it to come on PC again, and then I'll just, you know.
Oh, you get to mod those models.
Yeah,
right?
you get to mod the models. No, I personally on a game like that, I don't technically care. I get exactly, and I'm kind of happy there is someone like Cassie going out there saying what she's saying.
Yeah.
But like I said, we live in such a weird time that the more she was talking about it, I was just trying to come up with the devil's advocate to it, because I agree with what she's saying. I do 100%. But I could see the other side of it, where people could say, well, they want the game to be inclusive to where they have people who look like me. I don't look like a supermodel, so I want, you know, people to look like me. But should like where's that balance? You know what I mean? Like, it's a fantasy anyway. Just play it. It's a fantasy. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like you can create a character in Spider-Man. You're playing those fixed characters. So I get it when it comes to player created characters. Like for me, if a creator if it has a boob slider, it's a top 100 for me, right? She knows what I'm talking about. She knows what I'm saying. But like I get the, you know, being able to make yourself, but when it's a proprietary property like a Spider-Man, go fuck yourself. You know, just put put fucking whoever you want in there, and then, you know, the best looking people that you can, and let's play the game. So I mean, yeah, I'll wait for it. Like I said, I gotta wait for I got a PS5 now, but I'm not gonna. I
had a blast with Miles Morales. That was my favorite one. Spider-Man 2018 was okay. I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man games because and I know I'm in the extreme minority, and this is nothing fanboy, but I don't like I won't say I don't like it. I'm not all that hip to the traversal in the game. I don't think the web swing is all that fun. It gets old. It gets really old after a while.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I'd rather be a character that runs around and gets in cars and drives to point A to point B rather than swinging through the city. I don't care to do that, but it's the mechanic. It's Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is a cool character. I just don't like swinging. Yeah. But anyways,
I skip Miles Morales because I don't like Miles Morales as a character. You know what I mean? I just don't like him.
But I got to tell you, Miles Morales, his skill set was so much more fun than 2018 Spider-Man.
Maybe.
His abilities and stuff were so much more fun. I had a blast playing Miles Morales. The only thing I did not like about the game is his voice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It made him sound really like, I don't know. They told the character, sound like a whiny, you know, young tween. You know, it wasn't even like a teenager voice. It was really bad. So anyways, he sounds a little bit better now in this game. I think they told him that he can have his big boy voice this game. So I'm excited about that. But I do want to play as Miles again. That looks fun. Venom, of course. Venom looks really cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Are you guys looking forward to the new console, though? The new console, guys. Have you seen it?
I'll be back.
Oh, you're talking about the special edition, right?
Yeah, the new special
edition. I thought you were talking about the Pro again. I was like, oh, God.
No.
Oh, why? Well, you can buy this and then the Pro. So
let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because I had it up, but then Something happened.
You know, that was kind of smart, I guess, of Sony making it to where those covers come off, because then you can actually sell stuff like that. And because it's a lot harder to sell those special edition consoles, especially when you already have a console, to buy another one just because it looks prettier. That was pretty smart on them. Give them that.
But no, let me fast forward.
That's probably
to see all this
journey. That's why.
But anyway, there's the console, guys. That's what it looks like. I think the console itself looks really cool, the plates, but the controller, it looks kind of half-assed. It looks just blah. I don't know. Even the blood splatter doesn't look legit. It looks kind of weird. I guess it's kind of weird on both.
It's technically not blood. It's supposed to be Spidey
Venom.
suit.
Yeah. That's
Venom.
okay. Yeah. Now I see. God, I'm a dummy.
Because it seems like they're playing
it looks like
off
blood
the
splatter,
original.
though, don't it? Don't it? You can do it either way.
It does.
I think it looks pretty sharp.
I think they're playing off the original
like it.
PS4 console that was just all red with the white logo, and now they're showing Venom taking over.
I got you on that thought, but I for me, it's just after I got the Starfield controller, nothing beats it. Nothing beats the Starfield controller. Sorry, Ryan, I misspoke. I thought it looked like blood splatter, but
this
of course
is my controller.
Not.
That is sweet.
Did you make that yourself?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, this is the Forza controller.
Oh, you like that one a lot?
Oh, I love it. It's
Nice.
beautiful, and particularly I like that it has the smooth rubber.
Does it have rubber too? So does the Starfield controller. I love that.
Yeah, because like I cannot stand the Xbox Series X controller in the box when you get the system, because it's like this brittle, I don't know what it is. It just feels so prickly on your hands, whereas this it's so much softer.
Bobby Hawk, it is not because I'm so used to the custom controllers for Xbox. I don't own any except for the Starfield controller. That was the first custom controller I ever bought, and I was like, wow, this thing is so much better in person. And it's because I liked the way it looked online. But when I got it in person, it looked great and it felt better, especially with the rubber grips on the back.
Yeah.
So much better, man. And it's a cool controller. It's got that, to me, it's like a retro futuristic vibe. It reminds me of the 70s with the different colors on it. And it looks so cool. The clear triggers and stuff. It's a great looking controller. But as far as this, would I put these plates on my console? No, I wouldn't buy these plates. That's because I don't like these plates. They're too tall. I don't like the PlayStation plates. I took them off. I went for the slim D brand plates. With the ventilation on it. That's what I'm using. And I like the smaller form factor plates. But yeah, I wouldn't use these plates personally. I don't think it looks bad. It looks really good. It's just, the plates themselves aren't for me. But I like the design.
I wonder if it's got an audio cue for when you turn it on.
Oh, the actual PlayStation?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know. I remember the Xbox Taco Bell one used to have the Taco Bell sound, ding, when you turned it on.
Yeah,
that was weird, but it was a thing. People, if you have a Taco Bell 1X, I did not get one. Colt has one, by the way. I think Colt got one.
Xbox is so extra with their custom consoles, but in a cool way. You could tell that they
Gears
actually
cool.
care.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to have a Taco Bell Xbox or whatever, or Taco Bell. I would turn it on just to have people go, oh, that sounds like the Taco Bell bell. Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, it is. They did that. They really did that. And it's remember when the KFC console was rumored to be a thing, and KFC was just ribbing the consoles market about bringing out a KFC console. Man, it would have been funny if that turned on. It sounded like frying chicken or something, grease popping.
Oh my God.
That would have been awesome. But no, guys, it looks good. Console looks good. If you're into it, you like the big plates, it's cool. It's cool. Thank you for correcting me though, because man, I'm such an idiot calling it blood splatter. Now I totally see what you're talking about. It's Venom taking over, you dumbass. Yes, I'm a dumbass for that.
I would prefer if it was blood, because blood, guts, gore. all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks way better now that I know that it's Venom taking over. Now that I see that, because I was like, the blood splatter looks dumb, but it's not blood splatter, you idiot. God, how could I not get that reference? I'm so freaking dumb there. Somebody's gonna clip that, I'm sure. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. The show. I'm gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you guys, and especially my guest today, Cassie. Thank you for coming out. Let everybody know where they can find you, Cassie.
So I love talking about gaming and really all sorts of things. Like people think that I just rag on one particular company. No, like if there's issues on any of them, I like to address it all. And I also like to talk to things I'm excited about. It's all about. I've been gaming since like 1998. It's been a long time, and I'm also this comes from a lot of years of playing video games. So if you're interested in what I think, and if you want to add to the conversation too, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts when I throw something out there. Check me out on my YouTube channel, Cult Classic Cage, and I also stream on Kick. Kick's a big thing, man. It's an interesting alternative.
I heard Kick is a big competitor.
Yeah. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I've been spending a lot of time on it.
Bigger. Thank you very much, guys. Go out and sub to her channel. She's a real one out here. Honestly, one of the realest people that I've come across in this community, and I appreciate that. I forgot to read this super chat. Face 23BKNY. He says, "Surprised you don't have criticisms of the Starfield models. The reason why I don't is there was no Starfield before this one, sir. So I can't compare them to the. I can't compare models from old models to new. Like I can't. Like,
let me put it this way:
there's some ugly people in it, and there's some good-looking people in it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't compare it.
For me, when I play Starfield, I'm going to make the best version of James Dean that I possibly can, because James Dean's my favorite actor of all time. And if I come across someone that's offensively ugly in Starfield, I will just simply kill them.
Wow. Even if they're a companion, she will destroy them.
Why not? Don't be offensively ugly. That's all I have to say.
Wow. I love those parting words. Don't be offensively ugly. Mark, with that, follow up. Let everybody know where they can find you and what you've been up to, brother.
Hit a nerve. So you can find me and Ian on Just Gaming Podcast on the Legendary Drops channel every Sunday. We'll be back next week. Probably the show will be about prepping for Baldur's Gate 3 release on Thursday, the 3rd, on PC. Other than that, I've got another channel, Legendary News. I've been infrequently putting videos up there. Generally, it's about stuff that just pisses me off, like an old man, like Fonz likes to do. And I put a little video out. Like my last one was about the Cyberpunk devs saying that it was the internet's fault that Cyberpunk was bad. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming here on such late notice today, Mark. Appreciate you.
You made me put shorts on. Awful person.
Yeah, and I appreciate you too, Cassie, for coming, on short notice as well. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Everybody in chat, thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys so much. You guys show me so much love out there. And even the haters, I appreciate you coming by and leaving that thumbs down, but you're still watching. I know you're watching. I can see you're watching. And, just as long as I get that view, it doesn't matter to me. Doesn't. Leave that dislike.
Either way.
And everybody listening on the streaming platforms, I'm noticing there's more people actually going to my streams, to the audio. And I appreciate that. That's awesome to see as well. So I want to thank everybody out there. Until next time, game on, people.